All right, we are live. We are live. What's popping? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, with my dude, EO, Coach EO, Mr. Champion Game. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Good to be back on with you, man. It's always a pleasure to unite with the bad boy.
Yeah,
and shout out to the bad boy crew. What's up, people?
What's up? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to who we got up in Unique 79 in the building. Unique 79, he be on point. He's a super moderator. You feel me?
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to April MC. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Shout out to Shiob. Shout out to Rob Cruz, and April's putting the links to EO's book in the chat. So make sure you guys click those links to get EO's book. So let's just jump right into this, man. First, I wanna ask you, how does it feel to be an author now? Now you got your book out now. How does it feel to actually, have it completed, have it out there? What's the feedback you've been getting? And, and just tell people what the book is about a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think much about the author part. I mean, because I said this on my show yesterday, which we'll talk about, the Conversations with OG show. I don't really, the journey is what's important. It's like the writing, first of all, living it and living all that shit, and then to contemplate it, refine it, figure out why I did a lot of the stuff I did, taking it back to the beginning, the very beginning, childhood, the environment I was raised in, and then just reliving it all to now put it on paper. So really, for me, the journey is what's important. Now that I'm an author, man, I almost feel like I'm supposed to do that shit. I was supposed to be an author. I was supposed to help people. I was supposed to do all this. So I don't think about that part too much, because to me, this is just one of many books to come. And so the author part is cool. It's cool, but it's more about what's inside. And so here's the book, guys. I'll show it to you. For those of you that don't know about it, I do have a book, Cut the Bullshit, a guide to living as your authentic self. This is the first book of a 3-part trilogy, which next year the final 2 will come out. And then I'll, at some point I'll sell it as a 3-pack. But the book is about discovering trauma inside of yourself. This is not a typical dating book, although I do touch on dating very in a detailed manner.
Right.
But this is more about diagnosing inauthenticity inside of you. Okay, this is about getting down to the man or the woman in the mirror, figuring out why you tick the way you tick, because there's a lot of multiple personalities going on in each person, which those personalities can work for you if you control them.
Right.
If you don't control them, then you're just fucked.
Right.
You're potentially fucked. All right. You're going to ruin your potential. You're going to ruin relationships, and you're going to live a pretty miserable life. So this book is the ultimate authenticity book to show you where the trauma might have come from, help you understand it, come to peace with it, and then transition it.
No, that's dope. That's dope. And I like the title, man, is because it's just like it catches you. It's like, cut the bullshit. Because I think a lot of times in life, what happens is that, we put on a certain mask for society, for when we're dealing with certain circumstances, dealing with family, friends, work, whatever. We're out there like interacting with people, but a lot of times there is a lot of bullshit that goes on because, in society, for you to sort of move and shake and probably survive and do certain things, you might have to put on a certain mask when you're dealing with certain people. But what I always thought was interesting is, is one thing to put up a certain, I guess, front in certain situations when you're dealing with certain things. But I always hated it when people lie to themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you lie to yourself and you're lying to yourself, it doesn't really make anything positive, or it's not a positive outlook for anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so do you find that, when you're coaching, your clients and all that, or people come to you, do you feel like you have to at some point tell them like, hey, cut the bullshit, let's get to the real issue for them to really get to the the solutions? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, man. I sometimes have to offend them. And I say that in the book because I intentionally will discover your weaker personalities, which is the inauthentic you.
Right.
And then I will disrespect it so heavily that you no longer can survive from that character.
Right.
And I even do this with women. This is how I put women on game, is that when I meet them, I'm also meeting their personas and sometimes their traumas. And since I know how to deal with those things, I bring those things to the surface intentionally just so I could show it ain't shit.
Right.
And then once she sees, or anyone sees that I'm dealing with, well, he ain't going to go for this. I can't be these personas anymore. As a matter of fact, I have to be the real me because he's almost forcing me to if I'm going to deal with him.
Right.
Then the real them comes forward and they're like, oh, shit, I love this motherfucker right here. I didn't know I could love this woman. I didn't know I could love this man. But this feels good. So ultimately, yes, I have to check them constantly. I will tell you, you know, I watch your show a lot. Tremendous show. I hear your callers, my own callers. And the more questions you ask us, the further away from your truth you're getting.
Right.
Okay. Now, of course, you can call us messengers, mentors, whatever.
Right.
We have no problem pivoting you if we see, okay, you might be putting too much focus here. You need to get back here. There's some inauthenticity problems here. You're not keeping it real with yourself, which is why your confidence is so low. You know, you're looking for confidence out there when Lucario says the truth is inside you.
Right.
And so that's where I like to pivot them. I want to redirect them back to the starting point.
Right.
And then talk there. That's ultimately where my coaching is. I can give you a surface solution, but I'm going to be honest with you. I can give you a pickup line, a great line to say to a woman in a bar, anywhere, grocery store. But once you say the line, what you going to do next?
Right. Right.
So I'd prefer not even to go that direction because quite frankly, you're going to be mad at me because you're going to say, oh, yo, EO, I tried what you said and you said it was going to work. No, I said, you need to get to know that man first.
Right.
Exactly. Get to know him first. The other stuff's going to take care of itself naturally.
Yeah. Right. No, that's real talk. That's real talk. And, you know, I think this is the thing. And I think this is, you know, why people gravitate to you is that, you know, from the beginning, when I first started watching, when you first came on YouTube, I remember, you know, watching the videos and you would just keep it real in the sense that you was basically saying certain things that most people would try to hide. You know, I remember you saying like you suffer from anxiety at a certain point, you know, and you're feeling certain types of ways about certain things. And, you know, even I noticed that, you know, as a content creator, I try to as much as I can let people know, hey, I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know what I mean? Like we're not perfect. Cause I think sometimes people watch, they look at people like me and you and other content creators, other authors who are doing certain things, and they think that we're perfect. But what we're trying to do is explain to you guys like, hey, you know, we've been through those things and we're still working on our shit too.
That's right.
And so that us bringing the authenticity out is us sort of, you know, like setting an example for other people to want to do that too. You know what I'm saying? And so do you think that a lot of people don't want to have to deal with their traumas and with their issues? Because I know for me personally, there's certain things that I've worked on and I'm still working on that it feels scary to like have to face it. You know what I mean? So do you think that you find that a lot of people, they're just scared to face the situation, which is why they don't want to have to deal with it in the first place?
Definitely. And before I go into that, you said something like, in order for us to get where we are today, we had to be inauthentic.
Right.
In order to get authentic, we got to be inauthentic to know that shit don't work.
Exactly. Right.
so like everything that we teach you, we fucked up.
Exactly.
Or we did it wrong. Or and I hate to say wrong, but we did it in a way that didn't serve us and didn't serve others that well. Right. There was a better way, which is the authentic way, the honest way, which a lot of people don't want to be honest. And I get that. There was a time in my life I lied to get pussy.
Right.
But the best pussy I ever got was the shit I was honest about. That was the best pussy anyway. The shit I don't have to close the drapes and dismantle the doorbell and shit. You know, I can fuck wherever because I ain't lying to nobody about shit. Right. So back to the point about being scared. I had a dude just yesterday tell me I had to put your book down, bro, because that chapter 2 scared me. Right. But I warned them in the preface that this book will scare you. Facing your truth and facing the honest truth about life, call it whatever, being woke or whatever pill it is, it can be unsettling, very unsettling, and borderline scare the fuck out of you.
Right.
But what would you rather do? Keep living naive and live a lie, and die with so many tools left inside of you, so much joy missed, or would you rather know the truth, navigate through the truth in an authentic fashion, and live life to the fullest, to be a fantastic creator? So my challenge is to tap into that fear. Fear, as I explained in the book, is actually your highest self motivating you to move forward. Anytime I feel fear now, I'm excited. I'm like, oh, I must need to learn something over there. So let me go over there.
Right.
If I don't feel fear, I'm bored.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I must have conquered that already.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like fear, I must have conquered that. If I'm too chill, I'm like, I can take or leave this. I must have conquered this. Right. But if I feel a little bit of jitterbugs, a little bit of anxiousness, I'm like, I need to go over there.
Right.
And that's the difference between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset.
Right. And so when you was writing this book, what experiences or what things did you draw from to give you the ideas of putting what you put in the book? Like what made you say, okay, I want to add this in here? And where did you get that from? Was it from your own experiences? Was it from people that you spoke to, or was it a combination of both? What was going on with
everything that came out of this book was what I lived. There's nothing in, certainly there were observations like that I've made, like of my mother, of family, of women I've dated, society as a whole. So I was able to study society. I love to study people and people watch and figure out what makes them tick. So clearly there was an outside perspective, but it was all internal. I took it all inside and processed it all, but the most important person was me. Like, what was my role in everything that took place? Because if I this is another thing I tell clients when I'm coaching them is, can you please stop talking about women for a minute? We'll get back to women. We will get back to women, but let's keep it on you for a minute. Can you talk? Let's talk about you. Why is this an inquiry to begin with? You hired me to discuss this. Why do you need this?
Right.
Now, if he tells me because it makes sense for me to need this right now or want this right now, I'm ready for this, cool, let's proceed. But if I see that a trauma or some unresolved emotional issues is triggering this desire, I'm going to back your ass up. I'm going to back you up because all that's going to do is keep that shit going. So ultimately in the book, it was my 40 years of existence. It was my observations of society.
Right.
And it was truly, and this is something you advocate a lot, critically thinking and being a free thinker. And there's no way that this book could have been produced without freely thinking for myself.
Right. Yeah. Now that's real talk. That's real talk. And that's the thing about, putting out that type of content, because it's coming from that your individual experience, but also because of your individual experience, which people don't understand, is that this is how you relate to people, because people can relate to those experiences also. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was thinking too, what I find interesting is, what made you say, you know what, I'm not going to just focus on the specifics of dating, but I'm going to put out a book that covers so much more. You know what I'm saying? What was this decision for that? You know what I'm saying?
I got a really simple answer for that. See, I've had so much sex in my life, so many sex partners, so many, situations with women, that I see that it's a special thing. Don't get me wrong. Dealing with a woman that you tick well with, and there's going to be several, maybe. There might be one, but hopefully there's a few, just so you can figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But sometimes it takes one, and there's some special situations. But I've had so much sex, so much money, so many things, so many suits, so many cars, that none of it made me happy, man. It was really the man in the mirror and being authentic that made me happy. I mean, it's even I left a job where I made a lot of money to come do this. That was one of the biggest moves I've ever made, was to leave security and a career that I've built over almost 2 decades, being almost considered the Michael Jordan of that business, to leave it to go do something, who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
But it was an authentic move. It was a real move. It was a brave move. It was a man move. Really, it was very much a man move. And the same amount of energy I put into that, I'm gonna put it into this. If I won at that, I'm gonna win at this. So you know, it's just. But in terms of the book and the layers to the book, dealing with women is one facet of life, but it is not just like we say. You say, Steve. The game is not about women. Right. However, they're a special part of it. I'm not going to tell you they're not. I can live without them, but I don't want to.
Right.
Okay, exactly. I can live without them, but I don't want to.
Exactly.
Okay? So, but I certainly can go though. If for some reason I got a glimpse and God told me, "Hey, man, you ain't gonna have no women no more," I say, "Hey, fuck it, let's keep going." So I'm gonna keep going. But the women, especially if you have some sincere, great relationships or a relationship, it makes the ride that much better. But you know, people are walking around trying to find external stimulation and happiness through another person, and I needed to demonstrate that that's never going to happen. It's going to have to come from Mr. Lucario has to look in his mirror. I got to look in my mirror, and everybody in the chat room has to look in their mirror first. And then once you do that, and you come to terms with yourself, weaknesses, strengths, the yin and the yang. I said this on my show yesterday. Balancing the God in me and the devil in me has been a tremendous task. Partially because I never controlled either side that well. Right. Now I'm getting to the point where I control the God side very well. And I use my devil, because that devil is there. I don't care what you say. What anybody says, the yin and the yang is true. Right. I now put the devil on assignment. Before, the devil would just have free reign. Like, oh, I'm going to go fuck this bitch. I'm out of this bitch. And now the devil is on assignment. But the devil is fun. He's sexy. He's charming. He's not abusing anyone. He's just that darker, more sultry side of me. And then there's that Zen, divine, peaceful side of me. But I need both. So I teach you how to tap into all of that and how to control it rather than having your personalities control you. So it's a very interesting book, man. It's a short read, but I wanted to pack a powerful punch in a short read because I simply knew that most people have a small attention span, that they're easily distracted. Right. Some big, thick ass book to read. They're gonna be like, fuck this book. So my intention was to grab them early and then make it a short ride, but a powerful one. Yeah. Right. No, that's some real shit. And you know, like I think what people have to understand about the game, and like we was talking about, because people come to us, they look at the content, they're like, okay, let me check out EO because I want to learn how to get with these girls and all that. But beyond that, it's still you still have to look at yourself first anyway. Yeah. You understand? And I think that's the thing with people looking for advice when it comes to specifically dating. There's still things behind that, because if you don't value yourself, if you're not right within yourself, you can't relate to another person you're trying to date and then actually make it work. That's right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all those things behind dating that I think that people have to understand is important too. You know what I mean? And it's all connected. So a lot of times I think, because I remember, I can't remember the guy's name, but I was watching this guy's YouTube channel. He basically said that he said for guys, dating actually is easy once you first learn social skills. Like you just have your basic social skills. He said the problem is a lot of guys don't have basic social skills and they're not confident. He said if they were confident and have basic social skills, I could tell you any dating advice and you pick it up like this. That's right. You know what I mean? True. But the problem is like what you're saying, EO, is that when people don't deal with their trauma and they don't deal with things going on inside themselves, they could have like the perfect girl for them right there in front of them, and they'll fuck the whole thing up. Yeah, they'll reject it too. They'll come up with a reason to reject it, because I even talk about rejection. Rejection starts with the self. Right. It's never anyone outside of you. It's always you. Reject you. So if you reject you, of course you can anticipate a circumstance or a result of someone else rejecting you, because they're going to sense. See, when you talk, like when I talk to Mr. Lucario, I sense experience. I sense a man that knows what he's talking about. So would I invest in Lucario if I was wanting to go into business with him? Hell yeah, because the motherfucker knows what he's talking about. I could tell. I could read it off his demeanor. I could see it in his eyes. I could see it in how he responds to me, or even how he comes at me. But there's confidence there because he doesn't reject himself. Okay. But if you reject yourself, you already disqualify for the experience.
Right.
You're already disqualified for the entire experience. Now, is it her fault or is that your fault?
Right.
Most likely your fault, because you can deal with somebody and be like, something about this guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's very confident. He's experienced. He's sincere. He's human. He ain't just running up to me with a pickup line. And then it's
exactly.
You know, like he's actually human. You know what I mean? Like he's actually taking time to get to know me a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't have to be some long ass novel and some 2-hour conversation, but in that short burst of the 5 minutes, there was so much sincerity and so much realness in your vibe, in your energy, in your presentation, that they're like, nah, there's something different about this guy. I got to go see this guy, you know? So rejection comes from not rejecting yourself. And I explain it in full detail in this book.
Right. No, that's dope. That's dope. So let's talk about real quick. You have a new show called Conversations with OGs. Shout out to my dude Alpha Villains in the chat.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
What's up, baby?
We gotta get Alpha Villains on here one day. We gotta do it. We gotta do an interview, bro, because he be on point. But yeah, that's the thing, man. So how did that show come about? What is that show about? You know, what's going on with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So originally, I discovered AV on Instagram, and I was like, this guy's a hustler. Okay, he's a hustler. I said, and just like you gave me an opportunity when I first started out, you know, you actually were the first one to interview me, and I'll be forever grateful for that. So you got to pay it forward. You know, you see a young person or a new person to the game, and you give them an opportunity. You know, so originally I said, let me bring you on and show you off a little bit. You know, and then he actually came up with the idea. It was actually his idea. He said you would be great to introduce a show called Conversations with OGs for people for men 40 and over.
Right.
Because that's kind of a neglected area. You know, these older men, maybe post divorce, or, you know, these guys, maybe they don't get enough attention.
Right.
So it was actually his idea. So I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I formulated questions, and you know, originally it wasn't gonna be Rosebud and all your game kings, you know, it wasn't originally going to be that. And so, shout out to the game kings, by the way.
Steve,
go on ahead and watch. I still need to watch it, man. So I'm looking forward to that. Now that I've slowed things down, I'm going to watch it. So get on that bad boy membership.
We got to get you on part 2, man. When we do Game Kings 2, on there. Yes, we're going to get you, K Zaggin, Afi. We got to get everybody on that shit.
I would love to be on there. So. But don't wait till Black Friday. Why wait? You can look at it now. That way you got game for Black Friday when you're out there shopping. You got some game.
Right.
So where was I? So I originally started off interviewing AV, and it started off just to be my show. You know, like just me interviewing men 40 and over that either are content creators or just interesting people from all walks of life. So then I actually asked AV, why don't you be my co-host? Give you an opportunity to get out there, you know, have your voice heard. And I thought it would be nice for him to be part of be my co-host. Right. So then we brought on Steve and Rosebud. You know, I said, I want to get Steve and Rosebud on here. Right. Well, that turned out to be a vibe people seem to like. So then I called up them and introduced the idea of it being a 4-man show. Right. So I said, why don't we run it 4 guys, 4 men, you know, 4 masculine men at that. And then we bring on a guest each week, 40 years old and over. So it's a 10 episode series. We're at we just finished 5. There's 5 more to go. And next year, you know, when I run it back, I want you on there, you know, because you're 39, right?
Yeah, I got one more year.
I know. And
I got to get to 40.
A little bit. I'll be honest, because, you know, you're 39, and I was like, but this motherfucker got game like he's 89.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, I wanted to bring Lakari on, but I wanted to stick to the 40 and over. But that I wasn't too happy about that because but sooner I'm gonna have you on, and I'd love to, and I want to have you. I want to interview you. That's what I want to do next.
Right.
But interesting show, very authentic panel. Not an easy panel to navigate through. Being the host, you know, asking the questions and keeping everybody.
Oh yeah, that's what you don't understand. Like being the host of a show is. It's like I'm telling y'all, any of y'all content creators, if y'all want to ever do like a show like EO is doing, and sometimes when I do like the live streams, there'll be like 6-7 people on it. That shit it's a lot. Y'all don't understand.
Yeah, because you gotta play to their personality a little bit.
Right.
You know, even who you start with can dictate the flow of the dialogue. You know, you start with the outspoken one first. Everybody kind of sits in the back. And then you start with the one who's maybe a little more like a stoic personality. So learning all this shit is game too. You know what I mean? Like shit, it ain't just about getting women. Game is about building businesses, building relationships, offering value, which is a big another chapter, value for value.
Right.
So, it's been a really cool experience, and I'm getting good feedback so far.
Nah, that's dope. And I think what's good about that is that I think what people don't understand is, see, the OGs is going to give you, it's like, see, the older cats have wisdom. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And so you can get the wisdom or gain the wisdom from them, so you don't have to make the same mistakes, or at least you'll be aware. So if you do make the mistakes, because sometimes people need to make the mistakes on their own. Yeah. But even if you do make the mistakes, you have the awareness from the OG, so you'd be like, okay, that's what they were talking about. You feel what I'm saying? Because I've had that when I was younger, where older cats would tell me stuff, and I'm young, and I'm this knucklehead. I'm like, whatever, you know. And then once it happens, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they were saying. So it sticks more. So sometimes, you know, the knowledge doesn't really hit you until it's the right time for it to hit you. That's the good thing about having OGs letting you know what it is, because then, you know, you'll get some information that you probably wouldn't be privy to. You know, for all young cats, you know, in your younger 20s and stuff, you know what I mean? Like guys in their late 20s, early 30s, when you have that amount of wisdom on there, because you got Rosebud on there, you got Steve Dean on there, you got Alpha Villains on there, you know what I mean? So in yourself, where it's like, that's damn near like 200 years a game right there. You know what I'm saying? So
you got that right. 2
you know
centuries.
What I mean?
So
it's a lot going on, man. And shout out to Rosebud, man. Rosebud, he's on point. I read a funny story. I remember when so we did the Game Kings. I talked about this before. Yeah. And I first met Rosebud. And I was kind of nervous though, because I'm like, yo, this is the OG right here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I swear, like, I met him. He was in Nevada because he lives out there, and he drove up to the spot me and Miles was at. And he hit me up. He said, I'm outside. So I go outside to come get him. And I saw him standing there just chilling, waiting for me. And I kid you not, when I looked at him, like, because he didn't see me yet, I was just walking towards him, but he was just kind of like looking in the distance. Yeah. I've never seen another person look so confident in my life. Like, I was like, this dude is the epitome of like believing in himself, valuing himself, like having that energy. I was like I was peeping all that. And this is what I tell guys, where it's the energy, because I haven't even said anything to him yet. We haven't spoke or whatever, but it was his energy. I could just see just from walking towards him. I was like, okay, this is what's up. And he just had that energy, that air about him. And I was like, see, this is what, you know what I'm saying? If I could bottle this up, I'd bottle up and sell it. You know what I mean? So
and on the flip side, shout out to Rosebud, man. It's been a pleasure to have him on. And you know, he's a character, man. Even keeping him tamed, that lion. You know, it's a tough task. You know, it takes game.
When I first met him, he was like, you don't know no game, young boy. And it was, but Rosebud is on point, man. We keep chopping it up, man. So I like to see that. You know what I mean? Where, you know, cats is really working together to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's some real shit, man.
You said something too that I want to point out to these guys. You said you saw him and you saw the epitome of confidence. Right. Well, we can look at someone and see the epitome of a lack of confidence too.
Exactly.
So it's both. You know, you can see a dude and like, oh shit, this is that dude. And then you can see another dude and go, this is not that dude. You know what I mean? So women do it, we do it, even to protect yourself in society, man. I mean, walking the streets. I mean, you can't walk like you're a mark. You know, you easily rob your ass.
Exactly.
It's like game is everything. It's not just about women, man. I'm saying that's the easy part. Once you figure yourself out, that shit's like nothing, man. I mean, in my opinion. But it's the other stuff like surviving and thriving, not just surviving and making it day to day, but actually thriving where, I mean, you're securing a future. You know what I mean? You're securing your livelihood. You're securing so many. I mean, you can't secure everything, but for the most part, like I said, when I see if Lucario's walking down the streets in New York, I know he's looking at everything. You know, he see, like, even me, every time I walk, man, people don't even know that I see what they're wearing, hands in their pockets. You know, did they look at me and look down? Like, I'm studying everything.
Right.
So it's like these things are really important, man. It's about manhood.
Right, real talk. Shout out to K Zaggin 20 in the chat.
What's up, brother?
Popping, bro. So Strong Attack has a question. I'm gonna say this to you. So he says, how do you get rid of the negativity inside of you? What's your thoughts on that?
Easy, man. Start telling yourself the truth. I mean, if you don't start telling yourself, that's the easiest question I've ever been asked, and I say that respectfully because it may have been the hardest one you've ever asked, and I say that because once you start keeping it real, things start to change. Negativity starts to turn to. It may not turn to positivity, but at least it becomes more neutral.
Right.
And then you can decide again, like, do I really want to think about it like that? Or do I want to put a spin on this and, you know, become a creator? And a lot of your negativity is something someone told you anyway. You read that, you heard that. That's somebody else's story. A lot of you people are dwelling on things you never even experienced.
Right.
And we laugh at it. And I love to see Lucario laugh at that because he knows that's the truth. I mean, a lot of the stuff you dwell on, somebody else told you that. Another channel talked about that.
Right.
The content creator is out here manifesting and attracting you based on his own experiences and his trauma and all that. And in good things too. Right. So I would challenge you to say, is that negativity even yours? Number one. And number two, how does that negativity serve you?
Right. And on top of that, I would say this too, is that, like, if we talk about, you know, things in, like, I guess because you got the material world and you got like spiritual aspects of certain things. Like in the material world, I feel like you're surrounded by positive and negative just because of the duality of life, the yin and the yang. But, you know, on a spiritual level, on a sort of like a higher spiritual level, I was listening to this guy named Wayne Dyer. I don't know if you guys in the chat heard of him or anything like that, but he did he's like a spiritual teacher. He did this speech once where he was basically saying that, you know, there are people who they exude positivity and that type of energy because that's all that's inside them. So he was saying that they're on a different level of consciousness where that's what's inside them. So you're saying, basically, he said, if I squeeze an orange, he said, all you're going to get out the orange is orange juice. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's the only thing inside the orange. You feel what I'm saying? So he was like, how you're not going to get apple juice. You're not going to get, you know, freaking Kool-Aid. You're just going to get orange juice when you squeeze the orange because that's the only thing inside the orange. So he said, what do people get when they squeeze you? You feel what I'm saying? When people get at you or they say certain things or certain things happen to you, what comes out of you, you know, that's what's inside you. You see what I mean? So it's like when you can get to a certain, you know, level where you see things or you're aware of things, it's not that you're going to be like, you know, okay with everything that's happening, but you have an acceptance that sort of brings you a certain level of peace. You feel what I'm saying? To where a bunch of crazy stuff just doesn't like get to you the same way. Cause I'm sure you could probably think of like, cause I know like when I was in my 20s, there were certain things that I worried about too much or that pissed me off that at this age, because I'm more aware, it's like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that big of a deal, you know?
And a lot of my quote negative times was really due to an attachment, which I see there was a question about or attachment. It was a false narrative that I just told myself. I believed in something that wasn't true. It just wasn't true. I mean, you could believe in anything and you could live in that but that doesn't make it true. And some of the most negative times were the best times in my life. Like, honestly, when I look at, if someone says, like, what were some of the most important times in your life? It was when I lost someone I loved. It was when I went without, just so I can work my way back and do it better this time to build it back up again.
Right.
So a lot of it's not even really the times I sat pretty and sat fat. It's nice and I'm grateful for it. But really, when I look back to the most pivotal times in my life, it was the times of trial and self-discovery.
Right.
So in those negative times was really the best times.
That's some real shit. And I think people don't appreciate those times because when you think back, you can say, okay, I survived that. I went through that. Like I you know what I mean? And while you were in it, you're probably thinking, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. You probably remember yourself crying, going crazy. And then once you're out of it, you start to see, okay, well, that wasn't actually that bad. And I actually learned something. You know what I'm saying? Like I actually learned something about myself through that. You know what I mean? And so as far as the theme of your book of like cutting the bullshit, right? Do you think that a person can get to a point where they just like, say, you know what, I'm gonna cut all this bullshit out of my life. I'm gonna be on some real stuff and that's just it? Or do you think that people are gonna jump back into the nonsense, into the bullshit, and then jump back out and jump back in? Do you think there's a point where a person just comes to the realization that, I need to stop bullshitting myself? Or do you think they want to go back to the bullshit or they keep jumping back in?
Fantastic question. The only way that you can there is no way to fully cut the bullshit.
Right.
And the reason why is because there's too much bullshit circulating.
Right.
I mean, there's no way to cut it. I mean, you're gonna meet a bullshitter later today.
Right.
And it's your job to not adjust to his bullshit or her bullshit. Is to remain centered in you. So you're gonna feel the bullshit, and hopefully you can see the bullshit, and without having to like be too critical of them, you allow the bullshit. Here's the beauty of bullshit: if you allow other people to do their bullshit, but not fall for it, you're in very good shape.
Right.
But it's even, what else is bullshit? Is trying to change other people's bullshit. That's actually some of the biggest bullshit. Like even in religion and whatever, they are desperately trying to change your bullshit. But really, if you set a great example of how to stop bullshitting yourself in a very creative, modern way while still using some tradition, you're going to demonstrate to them, yo, this guy cut his own bullshit. And when simultaneously, he's not even trying to get me to stop mine. Right. Exactly. Like he's just letting me sit with my bullshit. And I guess if I want to change it, I can.
Right.
You know what I mean? So bullshit will never stop. And really, you don't want it to stop because there's excitement in the bullshit. There's kind of some excitement. I talked about that devil and that God.
Right.
There's excitement in darkness sometimes. The thrill, the seduction, the going against the grain, and there's excitement there. But if you can control the excitement and not let it control you, you're not hurting yourself and you're not hurting anybody else. But no, the bullshit will never stop.
Right. And I think that's important to understand, like that dark side of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because I think like people don't understand that is a thing that's there. It's something that I think people try to suppress, and push down instead of accepting and knowing how to hone it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I think a lot of times people can go too extreme on each way. In either way, you know what I mean? Like a person,
I've done that. I've done that.
Right, exactly.
I remember when I was a Christian, man. I mean, I'm not a Christian, but I don't claim that label now. But I have a fantastic relationship with God, my God, and so. But I remember when I became a Christian, it was like I wanted everybody to be a Christian. I remember, and they were like, "Yo, motherfucker, like Like, slow down. And I remember I had a friend tell me like, yo, why are you trying to like bring everybody to God now?
Right.
And there was a time I did that. It didn't last that long because I was just like a newborn Christian. It was something to be excited about. But now I'll go into any church. I'm not, exclusive to any one thing. You can't fit me into a category.
Right.
Because I'm all things. I can be whatever the moment requires. And but yeah, at the end of the day, you have to accept your nature.
Right.
You have to accept it. I've even tried to resist my nature at times. And then I found that the resistance to who I really am and what this really is made me more miserable.
Exactly, bro. I understand exactly what. Trust me.
Yeah. And finally, when I just said, you know what, I'm gonna sit with this. Let me sit with this. I don't have to do anything with it yet. Let me just sit with it and not try to shoo it away.
Right.
And now I'm sitting with this side of me, that side of me, that side of her, this side of him, and I'm like, oh shit. This is okay. Like, this is okay. This is all right. And once you sit with it, I think then you can, like you said, start to hone it, start to control it, start to use it for good.
Right.
But yeah, the more you run from something, the more it runs after you, which essentially you're going to be more miserable.
Right. And I think that's the thing is that we try so hard to get away from being our true selves. And sometimes our true selves is part of our true selves that we might actually be ashamed of, but we're only ashamed of it because we've been conditioned to think we have to be a certain way all the time. Yes. Or if I think about this, or if I do this thing, then I'm a bad person. So that we're trying to put out a certain image so that we won't be looked at as a bad person or whatever. But I think it's, and like you said, I think that's what causes people to be miserable, people to be depressed, because it's like you're swimming upstream. You're not going with the flow of who you really are. You know what I'm saying? And I think once you go with the flow of who you really are and accept that, but also, you can still ask yourself questions like, why do I feel this way? And what is it about me feeling a certain way about a certain thing? Where is that coming from? And, so you start to have a conversation with yourself, what I mean? Exactly. And get to know yourself better.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that you can actually relate better to other people. You know what I mean? And I think that's a interesting thing. You know what I'm saying? So we had a big baby Jay, and he said, a question for you, Lucario, how do you move from the simp mindset to the player mindset? What's your
That's an easy one. That's an easy one. Another easy question. No, don't do anything you don't want to do. Like, simps usually do things they don't want to do just to secure women and vagina. Okay, that's what simps do. They abandon self, go against self to do things that they don't want to do with the hopes to get a woman. I would say do what you really want to do. Say what you really want to say. Right. But you can't do that if you don't spend time with yourself. See, this book is about getting to know you.
Right.
You want to get to know women before you get to know you. So of course you're going to simp.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, the biggest simps are the guys who have abandoned themselves. The most masculine men are the ones that know themselves very well. That way they can resist or turn down something that doesn't reflect what they want to do. And then they can move towards something that is a good opportunity and something they really want to do. Right. So you simp, easy thing. Stop saying and living in a way that goes against what you truly want.
Right.
I mean, and now that's going to be a complicated one. They're going to say, well, I don't know what I want. Yes, you do.
Right.
You know a few things. Come on, there's got to be a few things about you that you've discovered. I like this. I like doing this. This makes me happy. Right. This brings the best out in me. So do those things.
No, that's some real shit. That's some real shit. And I think also too, as far as moving from that simp mindset to the player mindset, is that you got to understand this kind of like what we was just talking about earlier is accepting yourself fully. Because, for example, you might have you have a guy who's like, man, I want to go out there and see different women. I want to interact with women. I want to do certain things with women, but he's holding his true self back because he's scared of how he's going to be received by women. Yeah. So the simp mindset is, I'm going to do what I think I should do to get the girl. And the player mindset is, I'm going to do what I want to do. And wherever the chips fall, that's what it is. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a great point. And that's the truth right there.
Right.
The only other thing I would say is, why do you want to be a player?
Right, that too.
I mean, why do you want to be a player? Like, ask yourself both questions. Why am I a simp? What do I do to be simpish with women?
Right.
And why do I want to be a player? I mean, a lot of you guys ain't even fit to be players.
That is true.
I mean, I'm just being honest. Like,
that's true.
I mean, so why do you want to be a player? That's another question I would ask you. And I'll be honest with you, man. When you're good with people, you'll be good with women.
Right.
If you're not good with people and your only focus is to be good with women, you're not going to be.
Right.
And then also, once you get her for a limited time, once she sees how awkward you are with everybody else, she's going to be like, damn, this motherfucker pedestalizes me and treats everybody else like shit.
Right. Exactly.
Part of attracting a woman is her witnessing that you are just tapped into everything. You know, if I go see Lucario, I might have to put my girl on the side for a minute and say, hold up, baby, I got to say what's up to Lucario. I ain't going to be like, hold on a minute, Lucario. I have to have a conversation with her first. Fuck that. I'm going to go talk to Lucario. You know what I'm saying? So it's part of being good with women is being good with self and everybody.
Right. Right. Because just like I was saying earlier, it's social skills. If you have social skills in general, it's going to be easier for you to be social with women because you already have the skills to be social with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is that for some guys, what happens is they have an issue with women because they're putting the woman on a pedestal. But if you learn to take women off the pedestal, but you already have the social skills, then all you got to do is talk to women and be social, and then you'll pick it up like that. You see what I mean? But it's like, if you don't know how to be social, then you gotta learn that thing just in general. That's gonna be able to help you with the other stuff. You see what I'm saying? Because it's like, I think what people don't understand is that once you have a certain mindset, a lot of things are going to fall into place. And I think that's what's good about what you're talking about when you're saying cut the bullshit, is because when you cut the bullshit, you get yourself in a certain mindset, which makes everything else that you're dealing with, it sort of like falls into place and it connects to other aspects of your life. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is something that most people don't actually talk about, because I think the thing with like content creators a lot of times is that we'll say things either that are real surface level, or people will take it on a surface level.
Yes.
And then so since they take it on a surface level, they'll be like, oh, but I went out and I tried to talk to these girls. Like I've had people say, I tried to be confident and it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like confidence is like this thing you put on for a few hours. No, you know what I'm saying? Like
jacket. Yeah, it's
right,
a jacket.
Exactly. Like I tried this confidence jacket on, it didn't work. And it's like, no, you got to understand what we're saying. The underlying thing is about confidence and about you understanding your energy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so do you think that like there's people out there who the reason why they're not getting help is because they have a hard time cutting the bullshit. You understand? Like they have a hard time getting rid of the nonsense that's causing them to stay in the same place. And what do you say to those people who it just seems like they don't get it? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you're trying, they just don't get it. What do you think about that?
Well, this is how I did it. It's hard to cut the bullshit if you're always around bullshitters. Okay. So if your family's on some bullshit, if your friends, if your girls, if you work a job that's on some bullshit, I mean, at some point you'll have to cut the bullshit and start over. And that's another thing. It's like, oh, do I start over? How do I start over? Well, I mean, you can start over at any point. So it was really when I moved out, I loved people from a distance. I stopped having expectations that they're going to change. That's another thing that will keep you in bullshit. You want people to be loyal to you. You want people to be good to you. You want all of that, but you can't secure that. That's a choice on their end. So even loyalty, it's like, I want loyalty and I want respect and you can't have that. You have to be that. And then if you're if the right people you attract the right people, they will naturally want to give that to you.
Right.
That's not something you can demand. You are not cutting your bullshit if you require people to be a certain way to you. Even family, saying, I wish my mother was like this, or I wish my sister was like this, or I wish, my boss would. Keep wishing, pal, because it ain't gonna happen. So stop wishing that.
Exactly.
Stop wishing that. Instead, decide again. I need to find a different job. I will be here for 3 more months. I'm gonna pound the pavement. I'm gonna make new resumes, and I'm gonna find a different job. I'm gonna create the life I want because it's just not here. I'm not enjoying this experience. But there can't be blame in there.
Right.
Then you're back to bullshitting again.
Right.
Like you're like, she's not good enough for me. No, back to bullshit.
Right. Exactly.
No, back to bullshit. It's not about her. It's not about him. It is about you and the life you desire to have.
Right.
You can't. I'm telling you, the second you start saying my ex was this, my boss is this, you're now back to bullshit.
Right. Exactly.
It has to stay on you. It's the toughest thing in a world, in this world, especially since people don't want to hold themselves accountable and they don't want the power of creation, which is why you need God anyway. You need God because you don't think you can do it. Now, there are some things that clearly, in my opinion, this is my singular viewpoint, but there is something bigger going on, and there's some things out of your control, which I think you could investigate. All right, just investigate that.
Right.
But remember, you give your power away because you don't want to have it. Does that make sense? You don't want the control of.
You don't want the responsibility.
You don't want the responsibility.
Exactly.
So I would say when you start taking responsibility for your spiritual health, your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, you're now creating and you're starting to cut the bullshit. But if there's a lot of blame going on and you just keep recycling patterns, you are stuck in the bullshit.
Right. And that's actually, I think, something that people need to take heed to. And guys, make sure you guys get the likes up. People, we got 182 people watching right now. Is that, it's the responsibility of yourself. It's you having the responsibility. And most people don't want that because then it's like, okay, well, if it's not my responsibility, I can at least blame someone else and I don't have to deal with it. You understand? I just got to wait for whatever it is to fix itself so that I can feel better. But if the it is you, then it's like, damn, I got to do this stuff. You know what I mean? And nobody wants to really do that because then what happens is that, and it's weird. It's interesting. It's based off the person, I think, because if a person is always say that, it's good news based off of the person because one person might be like, oh, I'm so happy that I know it's about what I need to do. Because then at least now I know I can control that and make something happen. Another person might be like, I don't want to hear that because I don't want to have to control what happens. I want, everything else to I want other things to help me out or other things to like control my situation. And so it all depends on the person. And I think once a person recognizes that, that's when they have a choice whether or not to take the responsibility and do it or to ignore that it's their responsibility and just keep blaming everybody else. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And I think this is why a lot of people don't want to come to terms with like reality and like real stuff because then it's like now they have to deal with themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's why reality shows took place is because they knew you don't want to face your own reality. So you'll go through a bullshit reality show. That's why it's so popular because they know that you don't want to face reality, your own reality. So your little glimpse of reality is the sitcom or the new Bachelor or whatever at 7 p.m. on CBS.
Right.
That's your little glimpse of reality. And it's not even most likely a real reality. You just buy that. So you could have your own reality show.
Right.
I mean, but and also I'll conclude with this, again, you're going to be among bullshitters. Don't try to stop that.
Right.
I know a lot of bullshitters, and even I bullshit myself sometimes, but I quickly come back. I'm like, well, that's some bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. Stop that shit. And so you got to learn to live among the bullshit. Don't live in it. You're among it. Just don't live in the bullshit. Yeah.
Right. That's real talk. Real talk. And so let everybody know, where they can find you, where they can get some coaching, tell them, and guys, you can get the book. The links are all up in the chat, and the link is also below the video. So for, anybody watching after the stream, make sure you guys get the book, get it ASAP, get it for your friends, get it for your enemies. You know what I'm saying? Support the real stuff right here, man. But yeah, let everybody know where they can find you, all that other good stuff.
Yeah, man. Again, I want to thank you again for giving me an opportunity to come on. Again, you were the first guy. And, like I said, I'll be forever grateful for that. And I think you and I should have a show at some point.
Yeah, let me know.
I think we could be the new Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle, but with some swag. So I could see us, going on stage somewhere and taking questions. I really have like a vision. I can see us doing something like that. Maybe when we're kind of tired of the dating.
Right. No, because I feel you on that, because I feel like we kind of because I know we sort of, when we get together, we take it to the over there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I definitely can see that. You know what I mean?
Well, and we may want to transition that. So it's just I'm planting the seed. I could see us doing that.
Right.
I got a channel, Cut the Bullshit. My channel is Coach EO, Mr. Champion Game. I got a fantastic new website coming out in about a week. It's going to be a cool experience, man. I've been upgrading my work from a production standpoint, trying to make sure, hey, you always got to elevate.
Right.
And so I have a show Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. It's a live show called the Coach EO Show. So tap in if you wish. Subscribe. I do coaching one-on-one. I have some new testimonial on my channel to show you a little bit of that. I'll be producing more of that to give you an idea of what I can do for you. I'm going to be doing public speaking. As a matter of fact, I'll be in New York next year. So I'd love to.
Yeah, I'll let me when you're out here, man.
Yeah. So I'm going to be traveling 3 times next year, public appearances, public speaking engagements. So, and that's it, man. I just did a speaking engagement at the 21 convention, which.
Oh yeah. How'd that go? It
was a trip, man. Fun. A lot of fun, good energy. Anthony Johnson was very, very nice guy, incredible creator himself. And, everybody brought something different to the table. And it was nice to be among all of the different viewpoints. And so that's another thing I'll tell men and women. Stop trying to be around everybody just like you. There's beauty in being around the contrast to you.
Right.
Sometimes. So that's it, man. Thanks for the spot. Thanks for this time.
That's what's up, man. So guys, remember, make sure you guys get the book. Click that link below to get the book. You feel what I'm saying? Make sure you guys subscribe to EO. You feel what I'm saying? And thanks for rocking with us. You know what I'm saying? On this Saturday afternoon. You feel me? So, man, we're going to holler at y'all later. Also, make sure you guys go to badboymembership.com to join the Bad Boy membership. You get 45 to 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. You can also get the Game Kings documentary. Go to Bad Boy membership right now to get the documentary, or you'll have to wait till Black Friday, November 27th to get your copy. And that's pretty much it, people. We out of here. Remember, the truth is